Good evening, everyone. This is John Scarborough. We finally did it. We moved all the cows over here to this other place where we normally keep the bulls, steers, and we keep the sheep. We decided to go ahead and move everybody over here. We got one last little old move we're planning on. Today is Friday evening, and so we'll have them in here. We moved them into this pasture today. Probably tomorrow evening we'll move them out of that pasture and we'll move them over here. Let me turn around. I'm in one of my landowner's yard right now. We're going to move them over here to where the sheep are. So what we'll probably do is I think we'll take the sheep and we will move them. They'll go behind this barn right here. I'm going to view out just a little bit, y'all. Y'all bear with me there. Yeah, we'll move behind this barn right here and move them through that gate. And I think what's going to happen is the sheep, and this is what I hope happens, the sheep will take off running once we get them through there, because we can trap them in behind there. So probably we'll end up working them tomorrow evening. I've got to band a few of the sheep, and we'll band the sheep in there and then release them and let them take off running. They're a little bit more flighty than cattle are, I've noticed. So I think what they'll do, since they're not used to the cows, they'll actually take off running and they'll go to this back side out of the way, and then we'll start calling the cows, and the cows should be ready to move by then, and then move the cows over there. Now that's in theory. That's what our hope is. We may end up having a real train wreck tomorrow. Anyway, if we do have a big problem, I may put it on the channel and show y'all. But anyway, I'm really hoping it all work out smooth. Sometimes when you work multi-species like that, sometimes you can end up, it can be a little bit of a puzzle to how to move stuff around and get them through there. I really wanted to get the cattle out there on that pen right there. I wanted to get them on this pasture here, and I wanted to get them on this pasture out here, just mostly because of the cross parasite, where when you can bring them together, when they're on the same pastures as each other, they actually share parasites, but yet the parasites don't survive in each other's bodies. So it's really awesome because it makes it to where they'll actually kill off each other's parasites. So it's really awesome thing about raising sheep and cattle together. So that's one reason why I wanted to bring them, get the sheep and the cows in the same pastures, not necessarily together, but at some point or another. But the second reason is both of these pastures, we don't have enough sheep in these pastures to fully graze everything that's there. So when it comes to grazing, you have to be careful, because you can overgraze, but you can also undergraze. And so undergrazing basically causes the plant to come to seed and then go dormant, but then it starts to dry up. And then the land, if that happens over time, you can actually promote weed growth, even promote growth of certain trees and things like that. So you really want to be careful about that. You don't want to undergraze or overgraze. Now, ideally, these sheep, we would actually be rotating through here as well. We'd be putting in smaller paddocks and bringing them through. But since we're just starting out with sheep and everything, we're only rotating back and forth from this pen and the pen that you just saw over there. One thing I know for sure is that you cannot do everything perfect all at one time. So with the sheep, we're just going to do some type of rotation. It's not perfect, but we'll get there in time. But anyway, so that's what we want to do. We want to get some heavy impact in here and graze this down. But the main thing is that other pasture behind me was really starting to get overgrown and just about to come to seed. So by just putting those cows in there, that's about 2.5 acres over there. So by putting those cows into that property there for, it'd be about 24 hours. It might be a little bit longer than there. But by putting them in there, that's going to really reset a lot of that grass, bring a lot of it quite a bit down. And then it will actually expose the tops of the weeds. So then we'll bring the sheep in behind them, and the sheep will go in there and start going after the weeds after that. So we've had the goats in there and they've been doing pretty good, but it was only 2 goats, so there's only so much they can handle. I have been very impressed with how much they do handle, because goats are even better than sheep as far as going after weeds and briars and things. They are better, really the best thing I know of. They're harder to contain and harder to deal with, but they are probably the best for that right there. Definitely impressed with that, but definitely difficult to deal with, and that's why I only have 2. But anyway, so the cattle, like I said, once they get done with that, that's really going to help us to not be undergrazing, because that's something that I've been a little bit concerned with in these sheep pastures, is the undergrazing rather than the overgrazing. And it's not going to be as big of a problem because you've got sheep in there, so the sheep will, will actually start to, if the weeds and stuff do start to come up because the grass has gone dormant, the sheep will still eat the weeds and that are coming up and all like that. It's just better for your soil when stuff doesn't go dormant. The best thing for everything really is a cycle, is when it grows and then dies, and not really dies, but gets trimmed. So it's like it grows and then gets trimmed back, and then grows and gets trimmed back, because it's all happening under the soil too. So when it gets trimmed back, it's actually, there's roots dying off in there. There's microfungi that are getting fed by those roots. It helps to open up the soil and allow water and moisture to come down in there. And so all of those things work together to really create a good soil. So if you are small, make sure you're thinking about that too. You don't really want to undergraze either. So anyway, I think the cattle are really going to help that and really be a good addition to that. Plus, not to mention, I wanted to get all the grazing I can get, especially knowing that we're coming into the summer. So anyway, just wanted to show you all that, guys. Really like coming out here in the evening. I've got to get up really early in the morning and head to the Shreveport Farmers Market. That'll be my first day over there. My wife's still going to be taking care of the Ruston Farmers Market. So I've got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and head over there. So not really looking forward to that, but I am looking forward to the market. So been liking that white bull so far. I'm anxious to see his babies. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna sign off. Don't forget to like and subscribe as always.